seems as if a group of them must dispel dampness. December 21st. To a regimental commander, no book can be so fascinating as the Consolidated Morning Report, which is ready about 9, and tells how many of each company are sick, absent, on duty, and so on. It is one's newspaper and Daily Mail. I never grow tired of it. If a single recruit has come in, I am always eager to see how he looks on paper. Tonight the officers are rather depressed by rumors of Burnside's being defeated after all. I am, fortunately, equable and undepressible, and it is very convenient that the men know too little of the events of the war to feel excitement or fear. They know General Saxton and me, de General and de Gunner, and seem to ask no further questions. We are the war. It saves a great deal of trouble, while it lasts, this childlike confidence. Nevertheless, it is our business to educate them to manhood, and I see as yet no obstacle. As for the rumor, the world will no doubt roll round, whether Burnside is defeated or succeeds. Christmas Day. We'll fight for liberty till de Lord shall call us home. We'll soon be free till de Lord shall call us home. This is the hymn which the slaves at Georgetown, South Carolina, were whipped for singing when President Lincoln was elected. So said a little drummer boy, as he sat at my tent's edge last night and told me his story. And he showed all his white teeth as he added, "Dey tink de Lord meant for say de Yankees." Last night at dress parade, the adjutant read General Saxton's proclamation for the New Year's celebration. I think they understood it, for there was cheering in all the company streets afterwards. Christmas is the great festival of the year for this people, but, with New Year's coming after, we could have no adequate programme for to-day, and so celebrated Christmas Eve with pattern simplicity. We omitted, namely, the mystic curfew which we call taps, and let them sit up and burn their fires, and have their little prayer meetings as late as they desired, and all night, as I walked at intervals, I could hear them praying and shouting and clattering with hands and heels. It seemed to make them very happy, and appeared to be at least an innocent Christmas dissipation, as compared with some of the convivialities of the superior race hereabouts. December 26th. The day passed with no greater excitement for the men than target shooting, which they enjoyed. I had the private delight of the arrival of our much-desired surgeon and his nephew, the captain, with letters and news from home. They also bring the good tidings that General Saxton is not to be removed, as had been reported. 2 different stands of colours have arrived for us, and will be presented at New Year's, one from friends in New York, and the other from a lady in Connecticut. I see that Frank Leslie's Illustrated Weekly of December 20th has a highly imaginative picture of the muster-in of our first company, and also of a skirmish on the late expedition. I must not forget the prayer overheard last night by one of the captains. "O Lord, when I tink ob dis Christmas, and last year de Christmas, last Christmas he in de secesh, and notin to eat but grits, and no salt in 'em. Dis year in de camp, and too much victual." This "too much" is a favorite phrase out of their grateful hearts, and did not in this case denote an excess of dinner, as might be supposed, but of thanksgiving. December 29th. Our new surgeon has begun his work most efficiently. He and the chaplain have converted an old gin-house into a comfortable hospital, with 10 nice beds and straw pallets. He is now, with a hearty, professional faith, looking round for somebody to put into it. I am afraid the regiment will accommodate him, for although he declares that these men do not sham sickness, as he expected, their catarrh is an unpleasant reality. They feel the dampness very much, and make such a coughing at dress parade that I have urged him to administer a dose of cough mixture all round just before the pageant. Are the colored race tough? Is my present anxiety, and is it odd that physical insufficiency, the only discouragement not thrown in our way by the newspapers, is the only discouragement which fills any place in our minds? They are used to sleeping indoors in winter, herded before fires, and so they feel the change. Still, the regiment is as healthy as an average, and experience will teach us something. Note: a second winter's experience removed all this solicitude, for they learned to take care of themselves. During the 1st February the sick list averaged about 90, during the 2nd about 30, this being the worst month in the year for the blacks. December 30th. On the 1st of January we are to have a slight collation, 10 oxen or so, barbecued, or not properly barbecued, but roasted whole. Touching the length of time required to "do" an ox, no two housekeepers appear to agree. Accounts vary from 2 hours to 24. We shall happily have enough to try all gradations of roasting, and suit all tastes, from Miss A's to mine. But fancy me proffering a spare rib well done to some fair lady! Whatever are we to do for spoons and forks and plates? Each soldier has his own, and is sternly held responsible for it by the army regulations. But how provide for the multitude? Is it customary, I ask you, to help tenderloin with one's fingers? Fortunately, the Mayor is to see to that department. Great are the advantages of military discipline; for anything perplexing, detail a subordinate. New Year's Eve. My housekeeping at home is not, perhaps, on any very extravagant scale. Buying beefsteak, I usually go to the extent of 2 or 3 pounds. Yet when this morning at daybreak the quartermaster called to inquire how many cattle I would have killed for roasting, I turned over in bed and answered composedly, 10, and keep 3 to be fatted. Fatted, quotha! Not one of the beasts at present appears to possess an ounce of superfluous flesh. Never were seen such lean kine. As they swing on vast spits composed of young trees, the firelight glimmers through their ribs as if they were great lanterns. But no matter, they are cooking. Nay, they are cooked. One at least is taken off to cool, and will be replaced tomorrow to warm up. It was roasted 3 hours, and well done, for I tasted it. It is so long since I tasted fresh beef that forgetfulness is possible, but I fancied this to be successful. I tried to imagine that I liked the Homeric repast, and certainly the whole thing had been far more agreeable than was to be expected. The doubt now is whether I have made a sufficient provision for my household. I should have roughly guessed that 10 beeves would feed as many as 1,000,000 people, it has such a stupendous sound. But General Saxton predicts a small social party of 5,000, and we fear that the meat will run short, unless they prefer bone. One of the cattle is so small, we are hoping it may turn out veal. For drink, we aim at the simple luxury of molasses and water, a barrel per company, 10 in all. Liberal housekeepers may like to know that for a barrel of water we allow 3 gallons of molasses, half a pound of ginger, and a quart of vinegar, this last being a new ingredient for my untutored palate, though all the rest are amazed at my ignorance. Hard bread, with more molasses, and a dessert of tobacco, complete the festive repast, destined to cheer, but not inebriate. On this last point of inebriation, this is certainly a wonderful camp. For us, it is absolutely omitted from the list of vices. I have never heard of a glass of liquor in the camp, nor of any effort to bring it in or to keep it out. A total absence of the circulating medium might explain the abstinence. Not that it seems to have that effect with white soldiers, but it would not explain the silence. The craving for tobacco is constant, and not to be allayed like that of the mother for her children. But I have never heard whiskey even wished for, save on Christmas Day, and then only by one man, and he spoke with a hopeless, ideal sighing, as one alludes to that golden age. I am amazed at this total omission of the most inconvenient of all camp appetites. It certainly is not the result of exhortation, for there has been no occasion for any, and even the pledge would scarcely seem efficacious where hardly anybody can write. I do not think there is a great visible eagerness for tomorrow's festival. It is not their way to be very jubilant over anything this side of New Jerusalem. They know also that those in this department are nominally free already, and that the practical freedom has to be maintained, in any event, by military success. But they will enjoy it greatly, and we shall have a multitude of people. January 1st, 1863, evening. A happy New Year to civilized people, mere white folks. Our festival has come and gone with perfect success, and our good General has been altogether satisfied. Last night the great fires were kept smouldering in the pit, and the beeves were cooked more or less, chiefly more, during which time they had to be carefully watched, and the great spits turned by main force. Happy were the merry fellows who were permitted to sit up all night and watch the glimmering flames that threw 1,000 fantastic shadows among the great gnarled oaks, and such a chattering as I was sure to hear whenever I awoke that night. My first greeting to day was from